Yo, First Person Shooter and Cyberpunk 2077 fans. I went to the 2019 Deep Dive Demo replay at PAX Oz, and this is what I thought of the gunplay. Hi, my name's Matty, and I am stylized. Hope you guys are doing well. So, this video was supposed to be about all the gunplay and weapons in the Deep Dive demo, but I got way too carried away with the Revolver. So let's talk about that. Firstly, I am no comp winning world champ, but I've shot my fair share of virtual guns and I love it. But I'm definitely not a game dev. Honestly, I just like virtually shooting shit and talking about Cyberpunk 2077. Secondly, please take all that I'm about to say with a grain of salt. Playing the game and getting a feel for it in your hands is completely different to just watching it on the big screen in a theater and then 100 times on YouTube. Thirdly, it should be obvious that the Deep Dive demo is a work in progress and does not represent the final product at all. Things can change, fellas and ladies, and hopefully for the good. However, this is the first time CDPR have made a shooter, so it has the potential to almost be perfect, but it could not be either. So with that out of the way, let's get into it. In my opinion, the Handgun is by far the best looking gun when it comes to realism and immersion during the Deep Dive demo. It kicked like a mule, sounds pretty epic, and it looks like it has a good weight to it, making it seem like it has a realistic and immersive feel. You see, in my opinion, I believe that video games with good gunplay give you a specific feel for each gun category, and for games with great gunplay, each specific archetype within that category has a more refined and distinct feel. That then portrays how that archetype should realistically shoot. Sidearms, pistols, hand cannons and revolvers, as much as they are in the same category or type of weapon, are in fact different to one another. Typically, revolvers such as a Magnum are slow firing with higher damage and range, compared to a pistol such as a 9mm, which typically have a higher firing rate and lower damage output. The hand cannon shown in the 2019 demo is a revolver/hand cannon, and therefore belongs to the slower firing, hard hitting archetype. This is evident from how slowly the gun is fired, its recoil and the ammo count. While reloading, we can see a cylinder which contains 6 chambers for ammunition instead of a magazine. If the weapon feels as good as it looks, we could be in for a treat. But because we can't feel it in our hands, mouse or controller, let's have a look at the same category of weapons in some other games and how they achieve great feeling gunplay, which in turn creates a fantastic sense of realism and immersion, because we all know that is what CDPR always strive to achieve. So, in a nutshell, the rate of fire of a handgun really determines its recoil, and recoil is the firing animation and how long it lasts. This ultimately contributes a lot to how the gun feels, and it adds weight to it. Typically, the more vertical the recoil, the better it handles, but more powerful weapons can have more unpredictable recoil patterns. Yes, I'm making this more complicated than it needs to be, but leave me alone, I'm having fun. And hopefully you are too. Anyways, if the RPM of the handgun is 120 rounds per minute, or RPM, that means that you can fire 2 rounds per second for the reticle sight or scope to return to its original position. The recoil animation can be a maximum of half a second in this case. If it's longer than this, that's when you get that kick of the gun during aiming and the shots climb vertical as you shoot, making it hard to handle and less accurate. Typically very prominent on weapons like assault rifles. This forces you to adjust your aim significantly between each shot in order to hit the same mark, making it harder to land head or crit shots for higher DPS or faster TTKs, time to kill. A hand cannon is not an assault rifle. The recoil can and should be manageable, to a certain extent of course, and that's why recoil animations on handguns should return to center before a recoil animation is finished. The feeling of weight can be added via the aim sensitivity or movement speed while wielding the weapon and aiming down sights, but it can also be felt during recoil animations by changing their snappiness and the way that the gun settles after firing. Furthermore, I personally also think that the weapon's kick can be felt from camera shake or vibration. Sometimes the HUD can shake on each shot, or even the entire frame will slightly shift in some games. This is something that is important to me because it's another obstacle to overcome while firing, adding more realism through the complexity of balancing aiming and firing. But don't get me wrong, sometimes I'm spraying shit and nothing hits because I can't even see what... I hate it when I spell shit wrong. How annoying is that? You spell it wrong and then you read it wrong. It's fully like the Anchorman, you know? You'll read whatever is on the screen.
And I'm Ron Burgundy. Go f yourself, San Diego. Ah!
It is ridiculous. Oh my god. Mamma mia. Take a breath, man. But don't get me wrong. Sometimes I'm just spraying shit and nothing hits because I can't even see what the hell I'm shooting at. Have a look at this.
And now heading outside to the tree. Oh, fuck. It's like a little Mario.
Fucking running.
Dude.
I reckon we've hit everything except him.
But you can't say that it's not realistic, can ya? So, now let's jump into some games, finally. When playing Wolfenstein Youngblood, I noticed the recoil on the pistol was super fast and it shot like a laser beam. To me, it's most likely because it's the smallest, lightest, simplest gun to use in your arsenal. But it also makes it not so real. When compared to everything else, it's bloody tiny, so they made it feel like a toy, and I guess something to be used as a stealth weapon or to get you out of tight situations. It's not powerful, so it handles fast and light with a small kick. So you can just pop off easy like pew 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 pew. But ultimately, this is achieved by a super fast recoil animation that doesn't have excessive kick, allowing you to rapidly fire away. And therefore, this doesn't affect your vision in any way, paving the way for high RPMs with easy ADS. Now, playing Destiny 2, known for its amazing gunplay, I instantly felt right at home. I've been playing this game for a very long time now and it's totally amazing. Let's do it. Dress the eyebrows. Get comfortable. Alright, where were we? My eyelashes are like weird. And it feels weird. Ain't it weird how whenever you like do something with your eyes, you're like, Everybody does it. Everybody. You watch next time. You do it too. Now, playing Destiny 2, known for its amazing gunplay, I instantly felt right at home. I've been playing this game for a very long time now and it's like totally amazing. The hand cannons in this game, well, every weapon really, just feel so amazing. Every archetype has its own specific feel. The slower firing hand cannon recoil is so meaty and manly. You literally feel like you have a hand. You feel like you have a hand in your cannon. You feel like you have a cannon in your hand because it's a hand cannon. The faster firing handguns are light, snappy, and have a surgical feel to them. And again, this is all achieved through the recoil animations. The 110 RPM hand cannons snap back really high and fast and in a more random direction because of their power. Then they settle back to their original location slowly to fill out the longer animation time. This emphasizes their weight, making them feel heavy and powerful. In Destiny, you will even find that hip firing changes the recoil compared to aiming down the sights or ADSing. Excitingly, this we can see happening in the deep dive demo. While ADSing, you can see that there is a fair amount of recoil, but when the player changes to hip firing the weapon, its recoil is accentuated. Another thing you can notice in Destiny that plays a huge role in the immersion is sound. The sound of the slow firing, high damage weapons is more robust and louder. And this even changes within the environment to the point where there's much more echo from the big boy guns. The faster firing guns are much more subtle and have more of a pop to them than a thud, while still sounding metallic and painful. Malfeasance feels amazing and doesn't have crazy kickback and less hip firing, but the sound really makes it feel like a gun in your mouse or controller. But I've got to mention, the Revolver in the deep dive demo sounds pretty damn amazing. You can hear the metallic sounds of the hammer as it strikes and the ratchet clicking as it winds the cylinder to feed the next round into the gun. Or into the chamber, I guess would probably be better. I'm not a gun person, but I like pretend guns. Not to mention the robust sound of the gun firing. All of these paired together just melt my ears so much. But the one thing that wasn't 100% here for me was the reverb, or the echo in the room from the handgun. That revolver would be incredibly loud, and in that concrete room, the sound would bounce around and really emphasize the power of those shots being fired. In Destiny, when you're shooting weapons in Destiny, when you're shooting weapons from within anything from a confined space to vast landscapes, you can hear the echo of the gun you're firing, and it really adds to the immersion of the game. It gives you a sense of just how epic what you are shooting actually is, and that's so important for realism and, more importantly, for immersion. Okay, next I jumped into Doom for a bit and messed around in the arcade mode. It's safe to say that Doom doesn't really fit in with Cyberpunk's realistic approach to gameplay. As amazing as Doom is, it's just on another level completely and isn't worth comparing for something like this. Doom is all about pace and puzzles and keeping you like on your back foot and just absolutely just slamming you with shit. And it's just fun. It doesn't have to be realistic, but it's just fun. The guns have no recoil, and therefore they have no feel to them. The handling doesn't change depending on the gun type, and all things end up feeling the same, which is fine because it's not what Doom's all about. Also, there's zero reloading in Doom. Don't forget, Doom is one of my favourite games of all time and always will be. Cannot wait for Doom Eternal coming very soon, but we're barking up the wrong tree here. However, this did make me realise the importance of reloads and how they affect gameplay and particularly realism. While Doom doesn't need reloads because there's a million other things to keep you in check, generally, FPS games use reloads as a way to balance gameplay and reinforce immersion. So you will also find some trade-offs to rate of fire and damage output on all of the weapons. Faster firing guns, due to doing less damage and having more damage fall off, will typically have a faster reload animation and a higher ammo count per mag. Contrastingly, higher damage guns will reload much slower and have less shots. This rewards skill over spamming the trigger by having a much better payoff for hitting crits and headshots on the big boy guns. Hence why I always use high fire rate weapons, because I can't aim for shit. This brings me to Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019, the remaster. In my opinion, the ultimate realism for first person shooters. Now, hand cannons aren't massive here, but there are a few pistols as secondary weapons and one revolver. What I notice most of all here is that ADS and reloading animations in Modern Warfare are much slower than other games, particularly compared with old COD games. But this is because they went for realism over fun here, and they wanted to mix it up and do something a little bit different, and it really shows. But it didn't work on me because realism for me is way more fun anyway. Depending on what I'm doing and knowing going into it, that's what it's for. You know, you can either have one or other, but like being in between sometimes doesn't work. So Doom fully just fun, COD fully like realism, but that makes it fun if you get my drift. But the most noticeable thing about this game was the screen shake. Now, with the Revolver, there is a roll to the screen shake and it's quite slow and ripply. Ripply? I just make up words when I make these videos, but I guess you kind of know what I mean. I'll see if I can like put some overlay and you work it out. This is what I imagine it feels like to shoot a weapon that kicks like a beast. That thing would seriously kill your arms. But like having screen shake just adds that extra kick to the gun, and you can feel what the gun is doing to your body. So having vibrations and things like that happening while you're firing a weapon adds to the realism and immersion, because when you fire a gun, there's no way that like your vision just stays perfect. But the pistols in COD are another ball game entirely. Because you have a higher fire rate, the gun bounces all over the joint, making life really hard. This emphasizes my point earlier about archetypes. Both archetypes within the category handle so differently, and both have a screen shake effect to them to portray the recoil from the guns, but they're both different. One gun's shake is more extreme than the other, one is more mild. There is, however, a balance between recoil animation and screen shake when firing a weapon in Call of Duty, and they just get it so right. Both aspects amalgamate in a way that results in the most hyper-realistic gunplay possible when, of course, using a mouse or a controller as a gun. It's just so silky smooth. Feels like butter, and you just want to get your hands around it. Did I take that too far? Nah, I didn't take that too far. Right, 10 walls of text. Yeah, good idea, man. Grouse idea. Did I do that? I don't know. I can't remember. In contrast, Destiny doesn't use screen shake, but still has a phenomenal feel to wielding a weapon. Destiny has this fluidity to it which is cohesive to other movement aspects in that game, such as the movement speed and double jumping and things like that. But I personally believe both games are done so incredibly well. As you move around the maps and engage in gunfights, you just get so immersed in what you are doing. You feel like you are the character in the game and become one with your weapons. It truly is a fantastic experience on both fronts. And through these mechanics, you can see why people can pump hundreds, if not thousands of hours into these games. So hopefully CDPR have already learnt from these games. After all, they have said the reason they went in the direction of the first person view instead of third person is for immersion. So I personally believe, getting all tense and shit, do some stretches, fight. So I personally and wholeheartedly believe that if CDPR implement these mechanics and methods, the game could just be immersive as the game could be just as immersive as they intend. And even just going by the 15 seconds of Revolver gunplay, they truly are on the right track in my opinion. This, amongst a million other things, make me so incredibly excited for this game. But now go have another look at the 2019 deep dive demo and sink your teeth into the rest of the gunplay. Then let me know what you think. I think there's still a lot to talk about on this subject. Am I too keen? Yes, I should probably just get over it. But at the end of the day, the Revolver gunplay was the best out of all of them. Some of the other gunplays like the turret and the assault rifles and stuff like that, as much as they've got like all these crazy perks where you like have following bullets and stuff like that, and you've got all these massive cybernetic arms and stuff, there'll still be vibrations and things like that. So I think there's still a few key things missing for realism and immersion. Fun, yeah, it's going to be fun as shit, but at the moment I think it could just need a tiny little bit more in there to make it like a little bit more legit. Thank you for watching this video. Like, without you guys watching it, there would be no point to me making it. Yeah, it'd be fun, but I'd just be basically talking to myself, and I do that enough. I don't need to be talking to myself all the time. So thanks for watching. I truly appreciate it, and I love the feedback you guys give. Let me know if I should make another one, and I hope you enjoyed it. Cheers, Matty out. Oh my god, that went forever. 3 128GB cards plus a little bit more. 4K sucks. I had to delete every game off my computer.